Money Vikings, all right. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying the big market downturn. I wanted to give a few thoughts on what's going on and from a seasoned investor perspective and kind of how to manage this. So, generally speaking, what ends up happening is when there's a huge market dump, the worst thing a person can do is sell. And if you are, I always go back to this, if you're like freaking out or like flipping out or just having this urge to just get out and sell everything, then I would make the argument, and of course this isn't financial advice, but I'd make the argument that your portfolio was not constructed properly for you, right? Because a portfolio is a unique individual thing. There's obviously very broad rules for portfolios. Generally speaking, the discussion is about having more risk when you are younger, and which would be heavier into equities and crypto and that kind of stuff. And as you get older, you generally favor more risk off type assets like bonds, treasuries, CDs, maybe some real estate investment trusts, that kind of stuff. So, but the long story short is, if you're on the younger side, and I guess I'd say younger side, like anywhere from like 45 or younger, then there's really like nothing to worry about or to even think about right now, except that when you dollar cost average into more investments, you're going to be buying more shares at a discounted price. So that really needs to be the guiding light here. Again, go back to Warren Buffett, go back to fundamentals. And, Warren Buffett talks about it all the time. Benjamin Graham, the stock market in the short run is a neurotic voting machine, just everyday gyrations and candles, as we know. But in the long run, it's a weighing machine. So it's weighing an asset over the long run. So, again, is the US, gonna have, is it over? Is everything going to zero? I had kind of a silly, title to a video yesterday, everything's going to zero. And that's just being tongue in cheek and silly about it. No, not everything's going to zero. As we know, if you've been a seasoned investor, if you invest for a few decades, there's always something to worry about, apparently. There's always a freak out around the corner. There's always a country that's having problems or whatever kind of economic thing, indicator. And so the biggest thing is just you got to keep your wits about you during times like this. And basically a lot of people do really well by just not doing anything. In fact, during big market dips or bear markets, the idea is just to maybe pick up some more shares and pick up more Bitcoin. So I'm adding some Bitcoin at these prices, dollar cost averaging down. I think that's a good call. And nothing really fundamental has changed about Bitcoin. It's just that people get freaked out about recession talk. And that's what kind of is affecting the market right now, is just people freaked out about a recession. But again, go back to the history of recessions. Recessions don't last forever. So if there is one, again, it's not the end of the world. It's rough. The biggest thing in a recession is it's rough if you lose your job. That's the most frustrating thing, right? That's the part that really hurts a person financially, personally, etc. Especially if it's a job that they enjoyed or got a lot out of. That's a big bummer. And I really feel for those people. For some people, they don't like their jobs, so when they get laid off and there's a recession, it's like a lot of times it's a good opportunity to kind of reinvent themselves or, get some further training or skills, etc. So that's the biggest risk of recession on a personal front. From a macro level, if you don't sell all your investments and you have employment, in fact, a recession is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to add to the asset column with lower, prices, with buying in at lower prices. So, that's just that's the long and short of it. That's the bottom line. What I would say, so let's go into Bitcoin for a minute. So Bitcoin definitely, again, behaving like which kind of bothers me, behaving like a tech stock or having these kind of fluctuations. I feel like Bitcoin, I'm hoping as it matures that it actually rises sort of above that and it's just above the noise. And again, because it's supposed to act more, it's like digital gold, it's a store of value. But again, we know there's volatility with Bitcoin. So I would say if you're not into the volatility, definitely, avoid it. Again, that's about knowing your own personal preferences as you build your own personal portfolio that's appropriate for you. So I don't know. Those are just some thoughts on the big market dump. I'm not really making any changes. Only thing I'm doing is adding some Bitcoin at the lower prices because again, nothing changed about the fundamentals. In fact, Bitcoin just keeps getting good news, and it's funny and ironic. It keeps falling on good news. States are moving forward with legislation to add their own strategic reserves. The United States established a reserve using the baseline case of the 200,000 confiscated Bitcoin and will add to it in budget neutral ways or manners. Senator Lummis believes that selling some of the gold reserve and adding Bitcoin to that, would be a prudent move. We'll see how that works out. I think all the stars seem to be aligning for all that. So nothing has really changed on the Bitcoin front. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. Just want to share that with you guys. Have a great day and see you on the next one. Please subscribe. A lot of you folks who watch aren't subscribed. And if we add any value to your life, then subscribe and, the whole bell notification thing and like and all that great YouTube stuff. That'd be nice. So, all right, thanks. See y'all. Bye.